Welcome back to the CTE Companion. Today, we will be reviewing UFC 326 that just finished, starting with the main card, and then we will move on to the prelims. I missed the early prelims, but yeah. I know this is someone else's gimmick, but you can see that, it just updated. Charles Oliveira, the winner by unanimous decision in the main event. At the start, it was still live. This just finished. This video will be coming out probably, I guess, at noon on Sunday tomorrow. I just uploaded another video, so go check that one out after this one. It was on the UFC White House card, so I will not be touching on that one too much, although that was announced during this numbered event. I was going to say pay-per-view, but it's not a pay-per-view anymore. Starting off the main card, we had Gregory Robocop Rodriguez knocking out Bruno the Hulk Ferreira in about 2 minutes. It was the first strike he threw in the whole fight. It looked like it was 2 minutes of just feinting around, about to get range. Kind of looked like Rodriguez dipped levels and sort of feinted the cross. Bruno went to parry with the cross, and then Rodriguez came over the top with a big overhand, knocked him out, landed flush on the chin, walk-off KO. Absolutely beautiful. Can't really rate a fight like that. Normally I do a rating for each fight. Yeah, I can't really rate that one. Just while we're on the topic of rating fights, I think fight of the night honors go to Drew Dober and Michael Johnson. And worst fight of the night is honestly probably that main event. We'll get to that later though. Yeah, so Rodriguez by first round knockout. After that, we had Drew Dober winning by TKO against Michael Johnson. They were absolutely swinging early. No wonder this was a TKO in the second round. Actually, kind of surprised it made it that long. Drew Dober went hook. They were both southpaw. He went hook cross. Michael Johnson looked to counter the hook with a hook of his own, and Drew Dober threw that cross straight down the pipe. And as the old saying goes, straight punches beat looping punches. He got that cross right on the chin. It just got there faster than Michael Johnson's punch. He was wide open trying to throw his hook, landed clean down the middle, dropped him, finished him. Was absolutely beautiful. In the featured fight of the night, we have Raul Rosas Jr. versus Rob Font. Very dominant victory by Raul Rosas Jr. Very good grappling. Rob Font had that Michael Morales stance. Sorry, sidetracked. In between these fights was when the UFC White House card was revealed. We got Justin Gaethje versus Ilya Topuria, Alex Pereira versus Cyril Gane for the interim heavyweight title, O'Malley versus Zahabi, Mauricio Huffy versus Michael Chandler, Bo Nickel versus Kyle Dawkins, and Diego Lopez versus Steve Garcia. They're calling it UFC Freedom 250. No idea what that is. I'm sure it has some thing to do with probably the America's turning 250 or something. I don't know. Not American. 1776, 2026. That does sound about 250 years. That might be it. It's on a Sunday, which is kind of odd, but it is what it is. As I said earlier, I dropped a video on that one giving my predictions and my reactions to that, so go check that one out after this video is over. Rob Font versus Raul Rosas Jr., a very grappling heavy fight. Rob Font, he had a very wide stance. Excuse me, and Raul Rosas was able to capitalize on that, but he grabbed a bunch of high crotches just off that wide stance. Rob Font had the Michael Morales kind of bent, hunched over at the hips, looking to sprawl, but it was the opposite of that last Sean Brady fight where Rob Font was the shorter fighter and Brady was Michael Morales was the taller fighter. Rob Font's the shorter one in this one. Raul Rosas is the taller fighter. So that stance does not work, apparently, if you're the shorter fighter, because the taller guy just reached down, grab his legs, finish the high crotches with absolute ease. Yeah, Font was doing well early. There was in the first round, Font was able to No, I think it was the second. Off the high crotch, Font was able to get the leg back, get in the front headlock, took the back, but then Raul Rosas rolled over, reverse position. Font had the opportunity to disengage there, but he didn't. Ended up probably costing him the fight. After Rosas rolled, Font got a very, very loose triangle. I wouldn't even call it an attempt. He just kind of had his legs locked around. He had the one arm in, but it was nowhere close to even a submission attempt. Raul got on top. Yeah, that's kind of it for the fight. It was just a kind of a grapple fest. Very easy victory for Rosas. In the co-main event of the evening, we have Kyle Bahalio versus Rainier de Ritter. A couple of notes for this one. Kyle looked pretty cool coming out. I don't know. Just kind of did. Shaw Silva was the crowd crying, dapped him up, looked kind of cool. De Ritter and I kind of have the same cauliflower ear, except flip because he's southpaw. I'm orthodox. Whatever, that's irrelevant. Funny moment in the first round where Joe Rogan says, I don't know why Bahayo has his hands so low, and then immediately Bahayo lands a 1-2 right down the middle and kind of showed exactly why he had his hands low. Bahayo's striking was very, very crisp, very good. De Ritter was able to get a takedown at the end of the first. Didn't really do much with them. All three, this was a unanimous decision, but all three of them also had it 30-27. So I saw some people on Instagram saying that they had De Ritter winning. I don't know about, like, I don't think he won this in any way, shape, or form. Maybe you could give De Ritter the second, in my opinion. But none of the judges did. But how you look like he had gassed out with about 2 minutes left in the second. He was there was a clinch sequence, maybe even off of a takedown. I don't remember exactly. And Bahalio seemed to just be very gassed out, but he came back in the third, looked very good. Even out-grappled him a bit, which was very impressive by him. This fight was a 6 out of 10. I gave the last one a 4 out of 10, sorry. And then in the main event for the BMF, Charles Oliveira absolutely wrestle-fucked the shit out of Max Holloway. Just took him down at will. Every single round he ended up on top. Does it tell you the control time in this fight? I would love to see the stats. You know it does not. Full fight, takedowns 5 of 13, but that's all it took. He took him down one time each round. Once he got it down, it kind of stayed there. I'm sure there was probably 20 plus minutes of takedown of control time for this fight. Very dominant performance. Oliveira had his Max Holloway's back for most of the fight. In the first, he landed, he threw a combination, backed him to the fence, got the body lock takedown. Eventually ended up taking his back and was on his back for about 4 minutes. Max did a good job to survive multiple different rear naked choke attempts and neck crank throat lock kind of deals where I don't know, was just trying to hurt him, trying to make it uncomfortable, trying to force Max to make a mistake, force him to quit, which he did not. In the second, I'm pretty sure it was the second, Oliveira caught a kick, took him down. In the third, backed him up to the fence again, took him down, and he took him down in every single round. In the fifth, Max ended up on top for a minute, but that position ended up getting reversed. Oliveira did a good job of using a half guard sweep to get on top and end the fight on top. My thing froze with about 15 seconds left, which looked like Oliveira was about to stand up and maybe throw down for a couple seconds. Don't know if that happened. Looked like it might have, though. Yeah, and that's it. I mean, it was supposed to be a BMF fight. It was just a very Dagestani, Russian, Chechnyan-esque performance from Oliveira. He did his best JDM Islam DDP Hamzat impression. It was not an entertaining fight at all, I would say. I mean, it's not just because I had Max Holloway. That was, if anyone else had that performance, they would be getting absolutely destroyed. I know people love Charles Oliveira. I have people talking shit to me right now because they love Charles Oliveira. And those same people said we're just absolutely shitting on Islam and Hamzat for their very, very similar performances. I mean, yes, Oliveira, I will give Oliveira credit. He was looking to finish the fight. Max did a very good job of not getting finished. Oliveira was going for submissions in that first round. He threw a couple elbows. He was in more dominant positions. He didn't hang out in half guard. He was at least getting to the back. But it just was not that entertaining of a fight. And next up, we are going to go to the prelims. Yes, this Ricky Tercios versus Albert Montez. This was the first fight I tuned in for. Cody Durden lost to the Mongolian guy. Who would have saw that coming? Absolutely everybody. I don't even know that fight. Those fight odds were probably way too close. I don't know anyone who had Cody Durden picked. Anyways, Ricky Tercios versus Albert Montez. Ricky Tercios moving up to featherweight. The Ultimate Fighter winner from 4 or 5 years ago at this point. I think it was the Volk Ortega season. I thought he was the next Tony Ferguson. That's how they were marketing him as. I thought that was true. I thought he was really him. I guess he just isn't. Albert Montez looked really, really, really good though. He being Tercios, backed him up to the fence, held him up against the fence a bunch, held him on the cage. He was very weird at the beginning of the fight, doing his weird emotes and screaming and whatever he does. A big front kick from Albert Montez. It was kind of a nothing first round for a bit. However, a few minutes into the fight, Montez threw a cross and then followed up with a right knee, which ended up cutting Ricky early. He then proceeded to land a few more crosses. His striking looked very, very crisp. He ended up hurting Ricky to the body, who is a very tough guy. In the second round, more body strikes. Montez sprawled on Ricky Tercios' takedown and ended up submitting him with the Anaconda. They were making a big deal of Albert Montez's. He has some different Anaconda finish. They weren't really explaining it. This was a normal Anaconda finish. From what he said and from what I know, it might be like a palm to palm one where you, instead of getting your own elbow, you go palm to palm and then use your elbow on their shoulder to bring it across and make it tight and walk your hips in and get that rotation. He mentioned something about the elbows. I had that note written before he said this. I'm not sure what they're talking about. We'll have to see more of this guy in the future to see what that's about. Up next, Dante Johnson versus Cody Brundage. This was certainly one of the fights I've ever seen. Brundage kind of shot a takedown immediately off the glove touch, got him down, held him down for a while. Really another nothing first round. Cody kind of gassed out 2 minutes into the first. I think that once he kind of got that position, that takedown not reverse, but once Johnson got back up from the takedown, that was kind of it for Cody. He gassed out. He took this fight on short notice. He must have not been training before this. He gassed out. He at moments would just stay he would just stay still whenever Johnson had any kind of front headlock or anything. I know he obviously didn't respect the Johnson's grappling, which was pretty much non-existent. I mean, if Cody Brundage off 3 weeks notice, who clearly wasn't training before this, gives you that big of a test, he has very big holes that will be exploited if they are not improved, especially in a grappling heavy middleweight division. I think he's now 8-0 or something. Yeah, it was a 3 out of 10 fight. Split decision. I had Johnson winning because in the third round, Brunson won the first 3 minutes or so. His jab was absolute money. He was just popping the jab, flicking it. Johnson was also tired, but not as visibly fatigued, it looked like. But while looking more tired, Brundage was flicking the jab and hurting him early into that third round. But Johnson poured it on him, maybe even landed a takedown if I remember correctly, and ended up sealing the deal with that one. And in the oddest fight of the night, we have Cody Garbrandt versus Yao Long. Cody Garbrandt, unanimous decision. However, it was a 28-27, and no, I did not misspeak. 28-27 decision for Cody Garbrandt. Zhao Long had 2 points taken in the third round for low blows. There was a low blow earlier in the fight, and then he toe stabbed him in the nuts. And then immediately after that, oh yeah, Cody threw up into a bucket. Got up, started hyping himself up, ran at him full speed, kind of threw a jumping something. Looked like they kind of collided. Cody started swinging a little bit, initiated a clinch. Zhao Long reverse position, need him in the groin again. Got a second point taken, and then Cody just kind of did nothing at range. Cody won the first round, ended up dropping him with a big elbow. Zhao Long did a bunch of emoting through the fight. Really, really weird. Really, really entertaining fight from what I saw. I was watching it while I was making dinner, so I didn't pay the most attention to this one. I didn't really rate it, but from what I saw, it was probably about a 6.5 out of 10. I was gonna say the numbers before or after that, but I'll just split the difference. And yeah, that's about it for all I watched. Luke Fernandez, Rodolfo Bellato, KO in the first round. Wow, that's a little bit surprising. Fernandez was the favorite. I thought that he was a little bit too big of a favorite. Bellato was a big step up. He looked a lot better than all the guys that he fought before. The Contender Series guys and the CFFC guys were kind of he had never fought anyone with head movement, and Bellato actually has head movement. Fernandez kind of seemed to be a hold you up against the fence merchant and just kind of throw like 1-1-2s or big shots that finished his opponents. That was a huge step up. Clearly too much too soon. Hopefully he bounces back. That would be his first loss. We'll see how he handles it. I don't know if it was a bad knockout, whatever. Rafael Tobias versus DR from Kazakhstan. We got a unanimous decision here for the underdog. Cool. Suma Diraji versus Jesus Aguilar. Third round, decision for Suma Diraji. Yeah. From everything I heard, I didn't get a chance to really do too much research before this. That I heard he was a pretty big favorite. Although some people were picking Jesus Aguilar because of the not the greatest strength of schedule for those road to the UFC guys. Some of the people on there are make fighters look better than they really are to be as kind as possible. And then yeah, Cody Durden versus the Mongolian. Yeah. Yeah, so that's it. UFC 326 overall, not exactly the best card. Especially with that main event, very, very disappointed by it, if I'm being completely honest. Really thought that this fight would be a lot better than it was, but it is what it is at this point. Yeah. And next weekend we have, let's see what we have coming up next. It is the Emmett versus Vallejos. Okay, yeah. And then we have UFC London. And then, yeah, Izzy versus Pfeiffer. So, not exactly the best main event next weekend, but at least we have Edler versus Murphy coming up in 2 weeks. So, yeah, as always, like and subscribe. Thank you for watching and have a great day.